All righty, because this is a 30-minute program, we're going to make sure we jump in right away. I want to at first introduce our lovely featured agent this month. Her name is Ashley Ouellette. She is a broker associate out of the Wellington, Florida office here in the Lair, Florida region. Hi, Ashley, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thanks for asking me. It's a privilege, really an honor to be asked.
Oh, like you're definitely someone that we were excited to have. We're excited to have everyone that we ask, and we're glad that you were able to get on. I know we weren't able to do it in September and we were able to reschedule in October. So thank you for making the time. So let's jump right in. Ashley, can you tell me a little bit about how you got started in real estate and why you stuck it out? Because a lot of people get started but don't stick it out.
I think it's like so my father was a very successful broker and he raised his nine children as a broker. He retired from farming at age 39. He was able then to rent out these very large farms that he owned in Missouri. I was brought up in the Ozarks. Um, but he had these very large farms and he retired by renting them out and uh, we moved to our summer home and place at the lake at the Ozarks, and he did that because he tried his hand in real estate selling dirt, which was to build these now $1 million homes. But he was doing it for a developer, and he was selling 49% of the people that were coming through. Didn't matter. He was just, and everybody else was like 20% or just your numbers that you sell in that kind of environment, sales environment. And so after doing that for about 2 years, someone approached him to sell a thing of condos. So he was like, oh, okay, and he had his 9 kids, and um by this time it's like 72, and I'm um I'm the seventh kid. There's seven boys. I'm the seventh kid. Um and we're all a year apart. So we were all in high school, grade school. All of us were in school at one time in kindergarten to senior, 9 and 12 years. And that was 74. So somewhere in there in those 2 years, he was just selling like crazy, got this opportunity to open up and sell these condos to be built. And he sold them out in 6 months. And it was supposed to be like a 2 year deal, 3 year. And so he went on to open his own brokerage. He went on to, he got the people that own Remax, the people that own the different things. He was the broker that accepted all of them. He was in the Missouri Realtors with we didn't have MLSs then. It was like you ran out and got open listings and got the MLS together so that people would work together instead of fighting each other for listings. And he did that through being on the board of realtors for the Missouri board of realtors and stuff too. So a lot of changes. Just a second, my Alexa's reminding me. A lot of changes for him. And then, so this is what we knew. Like his friends were people he sold those lots to, who built those homes, who made a we talk about Wellington being something that came out of nowhere. Well, the Ozarks too came out of nowhere. And, $1 million homes next to, we had people in my school. There was a kid in my grade who also had 9 kids, and they didn't have running water in their home when they were with us. And at the same time, there was someone in my grade who had moved there from St. Louis. Her dad was in sanitation, and they bought $1 million home that my dad appraised. And we were all in the same school, 79 kids in my class. We were all doing the same stuff together, and it was just a different thing. But all of our friends, you were just doing stuff. Like my dad was just building relationships. We all were just part of that, big part of the community. he was a big part of, they raised money to get a hospital going. Uh, they, made sure that school boards changed to get, funding for education, and just always active, active in their church. I have converted to Judaism many years ago, early 20s, but we were all active in our church, giving back, just always. It was just taught to us to do that. So I went off to college. Brothers went into real estate. I came back with a family with a couple of kids, and I was a broadcaster. I worked in journalism, broadcasting, graduated from Lindenwood, which you kind of mentioned in the request. So that's a small private liberal arts school outside of St. Louis. And I came down to the lake and I worked at the radio station, and I was not on air. I mean, I did some commercials or whatever, but I wasn't on air. I just did that. But I worked with the realtors closely, and my dad and my brothers were successful. And I just really kind of looked at it and I thought, I can do that. My sister-in-law was doing it, and I felt like I can do what she's doing. And we were really good friends. And and they were making really great, way more money than I was making. And so I did. So at 7 months pregnant, I went and got my real estate license. I had to drive about 45 minutes up to the state capitol and take the class every night for 30 days. And then I got my real estate license May 2nd of 95. So it'll be 30 years next year. And I went to an open house for my brother, and some people walked in 10 minutes before it closed, the only people that walked in, and I sold them the house. Well, they said that they would buy it and I was to write the contract, but I had no idea what to do. And the next day, because I had known so much about the house, about the developer, about everything about the area, they thought I was very well versed in it, but I wasn't. And I didn't know anything about contracts or the real estate. And so when they came to, I said, well, we need to go to the office and do all this, write all this up tomorrow. And when they came, by that time, they realized I didn't know what I was doing. And my brother was there. He was the broker at this point. And he's like trying to help me, but they lost their trust in me immediately. And they decided not to purchase because I had built up this thing about like all I knew, and it wasn't not true, but I wasn't really upfront. I mean, I certainly wasn't upfront. They didn't ask me, but it was my first day of real estate, and they got that feeling, and they just didn't feel like they could trust me. I mean, they let me know that. And I went on and had the baby. I mean, that was just like, I don't care, I still had the radio job and everything else. And I had the baby, and I had 4 months of being off for the baby and stuff. But I started doing the open houses, and I really was good at it. I just didn't know what to do with some of the things, but I also knew to ask for help. And I had all these brothers in the business. I worked for my brother. My dad had sold his company by the time I had joined up. They had done what what my dad did, though. They had built relationships, and everything's about the relationship and how to live a life. So I am a realtor. It is something that you'll know, but you will not find me even like my sister-in-law still does it. That's not the first things that you'll find out about me. People will be like, you're a realtor? It's not the first thing that we're talking about when I'm talking with them. Someone might tell them, hey, you need to talk to Ashley because she's, she knows what she's talking about. And I do. But I am Ashley, and I am a mom, and I am, a wife, and just me. I love poetry. I love to read. I'm those things. And I bring love of life to my relationships. I like to help people, and I know in like real estate school and classes, people say, "Oh, you say that, but you won't keep saying that when you when you when you get going." And I had to retake all the classes. I had to fly down, so I ended up having another baby 5 years later. And then we decided to move to Florida for all kinds of other reasons. And we moved to Wellington, and I've been here ever since. But I had to fly in, no online, no reciprocal, no anything. So I had to fly in and be away from my newer baby and those other, I have 4 children, the other 3. And we had a condo on Singer Island. And I flew in and went to the classes, and I didn't get my broker's license because that would have been 11 days away from my newer baby. And so I did the 8-day, it was 8 days. And that only took me 1 weekend. The 11-day would have taken me truly 14 days, 2 weekends away. So anyway, I went and did my license, got my license, and got to Wellington and moved here and just went to work. And I didn't know anybody in real estate. There was one person I knew in all of Palm Beach County. But I was coming in with $5 million worth of business a year, which our home averages were $80,000. I was doing, about 39 transactions a year so that was 2001. And I would have about 45 listings at a time. And you were doing, and it was a one-man show for me. But it was, I enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved the people. I loved my home in the Ozarks. Again, there was just a lot of reasons to go ahead and leave, but I think a lot of us fly off or retreat to Florida with these big change ideas. I left billboards behind, my name was on billboards and stuff. Anyway, so I get down here and I just started living my life. And I got involved immediately in the PTO, and I got involved at the schools. I got involved in all the things that I had done before up there. We had picked Palm Beach County because of the Jewish, there's a big population, 30% Jewish population. We're one of the largest Jewish outside of New York, in Palm Beach County and South Florida. So I picked it to come here and be part of that. And by doing that and building relationships and doing what I love to do and being with my kids, I have been able to live a life beyond, what most people can. And when the times are tough, as they have been, when I moved here in 2001, the economist at NAR economist said, hold on, it's going to be a slowdown in 18 months. We're just going to really slow it up, and I moved here in 2001, and that was not the case. It just, kept building and building across the nation. And but there are slowdowns, and there was that time of just thinking, my God, I'm not making any money. Things are really tough in 2007 and 8, 9. In 2009 and 2010, I made $9,000 for the total year.
Oh,
and I
wow.
the breadwinner during that time.
Oh my goodness.
And how I fed my kids. I also was divorced. Just so many things. But anyway, I looked at it and I thought, at the end, at the 2010 going in, I had good mentors who were like, quit or go. Or do the deal. So in 2000, and I was making up before the sale, 115,000, and I was sharing I was at 67% split when she took everything away.
Wow.
And I was still cutting out at $113,000 with Coldwell. So it was making good money and then nothing, the $9,000. But I thought I could never work at a 9-to-5 job. I
Yeah.
spend time at my temple. I
Yeah.
spend time at my kids' schools. I spend time going down and volunteering. I spend time talking to my
Yeah.
friends. I live a life and I am not going to be sitting anywhere for anyone for any amount of time. Now I'm on the phone at 10 o'clock at night and I'm doing the best job that I can. Whatever client I'm taking on, I'm doing the best that I can
Yeah.
for them.
I
But I
love
have
that.
to make a decision every day. But at that time in 2010 was you're either going to do this. People gave me food in December of 2010. They brought me hot food to feed my family.
Oh,
There's
that's
so much that
amazing.
had happened. And but in the end, I had to ask, like, do you want to go work? I mean, even if it's the radio station, they're going to have
Yeah.
call logs and things you got to do and all this stuff. Or
Yeah.
do you want to get back to doing what you know? And you don't have to go back to basics if you don't leave it. But I had left it. I wasn't doing the things. I wasn't making phone calls to the relationships of the people I meet. I didn't need to cold call. I didn't need to buy any leads. I didn't
Yeah.
need to do anything. I just needed to make calls and go back to sending thank you notes, which I always did to everyone I ever meet. I go through note cards and
I
letters and
love
I
that.
leave them in my pot in my car. I haven't had them in my car for a while. That's a whole nother story too.
Yeah.
But in my car, um, but with stamps, and I'm just ready to write and send you a thank you note for Max Home Inspection for being on here and sponsoring.
Which
Like,
is amazing.
right. So like that's what I remember getting my thank you note from a Remax owner. She was also the agent who sold me and my husband our home back in the day when I moved back with my kids. And she had worked for my dad, started off her career there. And she had sent me a thank you note after one of our first transactions. And I remembered that. I still have it. And I think, like, when you think about things you
Yeah.
remember a real thank you note, not the one
Yeah.
that just says, not that I don't send out holiday cards. I just send out a note that just says,
Yeah.
hey, thinking of you, hey, this is when we close. Today I have 3 people, a family that they bought a house together, I don't know, in 2017. So I send them, I'll call them, I'll say, hey, you guys, it's relationships, but it's for
Yes.
me. Like I'm happy in relationships and being part of life. And by
I
being
do
part
have
of
to
life,
ask you one really quick question. At what point in your career did you decide that the gold was in the relationship?
do that from my father. You will always, so he was in, so my dad died a few years ago.
I'm sorry.
And oh, no. I mean, he was 90. He loved life. He wrote these wonderful letters of how great his life was. And it was, but he died here in my house. He had come to live with us from COVID. And his partner was, they had never had an argument when they were business partners in the real estate. And his partner was a little bit more hot-headed. His partner tells his story, and he told the story at the eulogy again, but that this and he was younger than my dad by like 20 years. And he said that, this person, this other realtor just went in and took the client and snaked the deal and went around and kept the commission. And, this thing went bad. And a small community, so you're going to know people and everything. And so the dad's partner wanted to like really diss him to other people, let them know what kind of person he was and do all this stuff and, get him back. And my dad said, no, and not like into the karma, not like karma's going to get you or get him. It
Yeah.
was, you are always going to be with people.
Mm.
And there are people that are going to come back into your life or not in your life. And you're the one that's going to know how you treated them and what you did.
Yeah.
So it's on me what I do. So even though you're not behaving and you're not doing it right, I might point it out to you. In fact, I've had people, Ashley, you can't say what to do. Well, no, you're right. Or I can tell you what to, no, I can say it, but I'm just, it doesn't mean you're going to do it. But,
Yeah.
and people will say, Ashley, you seem kind of condescending on that. I mean, what, you never make a mistake. And it's like, you know what? You do you, I'll do me. And I'll let the money fall off. And going with that, in that decision time of, so there was a divorce, there was all this stuff. I let my phone number go. Um, I let just all kinds of things happen back in that time, and the market crash, but my life crashed too. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a recovered alcoholic of 17 years, October 31st.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. It happened to be at a great time to fall apart because it was the housing crash. So it worked because I didn't think I could do anything because I was making this money. So don't you know, don't mess with me. But the truth of the matter is that I had severe problems. And so anyway, I got sober and I got, but I kind of left this whole other life, like, oh, I thought I couldn't do anything. And I mean, all I had was real estate, but I wasn't even doing that because the housing crisis and everything. But I had this client who was a real Google had just come out, and he Googled me, and he was telling me, he found me, and he's like, Ashley, what'd you do with your number? Aren't you still selling real estate? And he managed a car dealership, like a BMW. And I'm like, oh, I just had such a time. And he says, well, I want to buy a house and I want to use you and I want this. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. He says, yeah, I've gotten engaged. And I had already sold him a house before. And so we go to meet. I don't have a car. The car that I had, if you get in it, it was a Dodge Neon. It had been my son's. If you got in the car, it needed a paint job and it made such loud noise that you couldn't hear each other. And I couldn't use the phone while I was in the car unless I pulled over or let up on the gas. So sometimes I would just, like, the phone would ring and I would answer and I would let up on the gas so people could hear me as I was talking. Of course, all these people behind me are like, she needs to move. So, I'm trying to get to the side of the road. It's like, oh, there's so many stories with it. But anyway, I have that car to this BMW guy. And he is just great, but we pull up into Meadowwoods right around here, which the homes are higher dollar, half acre lots. And I pull up and him and his fiance are there. And she gets out of the car. And then next thing I know, she's back in the car. And we walk up to the house and he says, she's not going to get out. She doesn't want to use you. She doesn't like how your car. And so I'm like, okay, so well, show me the house anyway. I do. And I said, that's okay, David, enjoy your life, whatever. And so he called me a couple of days later, whatever, and he says, I'm not gonna. He says, find me another house. And and I ended up selling 2 more houses, sold a house, renting my house. We're not, there's nothing there. But it was in the relationship. And again, it wasn't about her. It was
Yeah.
me and how I
Hmm.
handled myself and it wouldn't have been about him either.
Yeah.
And I was about as broke as you could get. And I needed that higher dollar thing. But that's the thing. It's a relationship. And that's
Yes.
how it comes around.
OMG. I hope he let that girl go because that's a huge red flag. That was not very kind of her.
Yeah, well, I mean, people are people, and she probably had friends that, you know, and you're dealing with the most important thing. And do you really? I mean, let's go to all the things they tell you.
Yeah.
So in that same time frame, I was meeting this woman, and at the time it was one of my bigger houses. She was buying her third home for her parents' 60th birthday. I'm going to be 60 this year. 60th birthday. And so that's the kind of money she had, paying cash. And it was her third home. And so she had talked with all kinds of people. She had all reasons not to meet or work with these people. And when she wanted to meet with me and she liked me, but I parked my car all the way around the corner, got to the property like 30 minutes early. She had flown in from Chicago. And she's like, "Where's your car?" And I'm like, "Oh, I just felt like walking." And so, I never did show her my car at that time. I kept avoiding, then she wanted to meet at like Trees and Wings or something. And I didn't even have money like to like, but she paid. It's just funny, but it's
That's awesome.
relationships, and but it is also like it's all the things that you do know about. Like you do got to be truthful, and you got to, and you do, and you should present well, and dress. Like if you run into someone who finds out you're a realtor, what do you look like today? And I like your cat ears, but I mean it's the simple basic
Thank
thing.
you.
Make the phone calls to the people that matter in your life. Tell them this is what I did. I went to a program. It's called
Mhm.
Bold. I'm sorry, it was called the light one. I did Bold as well, but um, it's a program that Ignite. That's what it was. And we
Mhm.
had to go for 30 days in a row, and you had to make these phone calls from your cell phone. And that was the change of my life in the new money, in the new making money. And that was, I sat there and I called 10 people in my phone every day. And I just said, "Hey, it's Ashley. Do you have a moment for a business call?" Because nobody has a moment to talk to me because I'm never a moment. I talk forever. So people are like, "Yeah, Ashley, I don't have time. But if I say, I got, do you have a moment for a business call? I have a business thing. And they say yes. And I said, "Well, listen, I'm in this program," which was true, in Ignite. And we're having kind of a competition, and we got to call people and clean up our database, and with this whole thing, get this thing started. And I can use the same remarks now. And we need to get 10 names into the database and stuff. And they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, Ashley. So is this the right number for you? Is this email?" And so, do you know someone who would want to buy or sell or rent a property today? And then speak. Don't speak. Let them say silence, which they like, it went silent. How can it be silent? And then they say no, or they say, "You know what? I was talking to somebody." But out of the first 13 people that I called, out of those 13, not the actual family members, but of the 13 people, 3 years later, every deal I did in 2014, that was 2011, every deal I did in 2014 was directly related to those 13 calls.
Oh, that's amazing.
Some way, because I did an open house at the house that was referred to me, or they bought, or they sold. And so we're not in this in a marathon, a race, how to win, how to make money. There's plenty of it. You want a big life, live big, dream big, do your big, but
That
just
sounds
know
like a
who you are.
tattoo. I love that. Do your big definitely sounds like a tattoo. I love that. That's amazing. That's a great quote. Thank you.
Do your
Uh,
big and know who you are, and be that.
That's amazing. We
That's it.
really,
I know
really
you're on here
appreciate
way
you
too long.
sharing your story with us today. It's awesome to hear. And I think one thing I'll say closing before we introduce Karina, everybody, Karina is from Max Home Inspection. She sponsored today's event. She's going to take a few minutes just to say hi. But I do think you said some really cool things. I mean, everything you said was amazing, but some of the things that really stuck out to me is the relationship building, because honestly, I don't think a lot of realtors, the first thing they think about real estate is not relationships, which is crazy because it's all relationships. They think about properties, they think about houses, they possibly think about HGTV, they possibly think about making $1 million. But I guarantee you, most people are not initially thinking about building relationships. So I very much appreciate you and thank you so much for imparting that very, very, very important message. With that, Karina, hi and welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
Look, Ashley,
It's a thank you card.
grateful cards for my inspection people that try us out at Max.
Yes, I
Yes,
love that.
100%. I love that. I love your story. I love all about it's definitely relationship building. I've only been at Max for 6 months. I'm senior business development for Max Home Inspections. Farah knows me when I was green and just started 2 weeks out, and we just clicked, and I have all these great opportunities because of her. So I'm thankful for her and all the relationships as well. Max Home Inspections, a little bit about Max. We offer same day or next day availability guarantee. Reach out to us before 12. We can get you that Spectera report same day. It is not like a harsh language report. It's very clear. It has pictures. It has anything you might need. It gives it to you fast so that you can, maybe there's an issue, you get on it real quick. We also offer 3 free items along with a full home inspection from Max. We offer 90-day home warranty. Let's say there's an issue after closing. Who are they going to call? Ashley. And they're going to be like, what's going on? You just sold me this house and there's something wrong. Well, with Max, you call them the Liberty Home Guard and they will take care of it. And it does not matter the claim. It could be one day, the dishwasher, the next day, hopefully not, but the next day, let's say the refrigerator. Does not matter how many claims during those 90 days, it will be covered. We also offer what's called a free home binder. What a home binder is, it's a digital footprint of your roof inspection or of your maintenance on appliances. Any digital footprint it will have it digitally on there. What borrower or client has all these items? You ask them, oh, when was the last time you replaced the roof? They don't remember. So this is great for you guys. We're going into digital. We don't need paper anymore. Stick it in the file folder and be done with it so that the next time they sell, it'll show a marketing thing. It'll show Ashley's picture. It will have a reminder. Oh, she's the one that sold me the house. Let me call her again. Maybe I need an investment. Maybe my son needs a home. So that's a good marketing tool as well for you guys. And we also offer Repair Pricer. Now, all these things are free with Max. It's full home inspection. Sorry, I'm a little sick. So the home, the Repair Pricer, let's say, of course, no home is perfect. There's repairs that need to be done. We will give you a list of who to call, who you might need. You might need Joe Schmo plumbing. It'll be on there. All of the really good people in Florida. Max Home Inspections is Google rated. You can look us up. We have over 7,000 reviews. We're one of the top choice in the market. Definitely, once you go to Max, you'll never go back. And this is me, and you can go to Max. I can give you this little screen. Let me share it with you guys. And it'll give you a, sorry, give me one sec. Can you guys see it? Oh, not that great, but here's my info. And that's what I have. You can look up www.maxhomeinspections.com and it'll give you a free $50 off. Just, ask for me if you need anything. I'm here for you. I cover, let's see, Port St. Lucie, Florida, all the way through Hollywood. And, anytime you need a rush or you need any assistance or have questions, please feel free to reach me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karina. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Ashley. Ashley, you're super interesting. If there were Ashley Ouellette P.A. book out, I will read it. Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. It's awesome hearing from you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a great day. Bye.